and Erin. Please go ahead.
Hi, I am so glad to be back, and I am happy to see everybody again and to have this partnership with Oren. I know Oren Farhi because I had his children as my students. So he is the parent and the app developer. I'm the educator that's helping out and collaborating. And when we work together, I have the teacher hat and the parent hat in my mind, as well as the administrator hat, and he is the parent and tech developer hat. So I come to you with years of experience in education, kindergarten through college, working with English language learners, as well as gifted and talented learners, and working as an adjunct professor. So that is what I am bringing here, as well as authoring some books and journal articles. And you can see more about me on my website, and I will put that in the chat. Turning it over to you, Oren, to introduce yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm happy to be here. So glad I met Hope. It was actually during COVID-19, right, Hope?
Right before, yes.
To catch up. Yeah. Yeah, right before that. Yeah. Yeah, as Hope mentioned, I'm the parent and also an app developer. And I struggled with my kids, whatever is related to becoming a fluent speaker and reader in English. As you can probably tell, English is not my first language, and so it wasn't for my kids as well, as we relocated to the States 4 years ago. And Hope was there to support us and to support our kids in making the transition and learning the language as easy as possible. And with that, during my one of my trips with my family, I had an idea on how I can help them using my skills and as an app developer in trying to build some confidence in learning English and becoming confident in speaking out loud. And that's where the read aloud came into this amazing journey that myself and Hope are at in the moment. Hope, I think we can start with some slides before we jump into the app. Let me share my screen.
You want to share or you want me to share?
Well, you can share. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, you can talk and I'll share. Go ahead.
All right. So yeah, my story is going to be very short. As mentioned before, I relocated with my wife and 4 kids to the US 4 years ago. They didn't know how to speak English at all. In my country, they don't speak English until they become 9 or 10. And so we found ourselves new in the country, in the US. And the teachers in the school promoted us to try and speak out loud in the house after the kids come back from school, and trying to promote them to read for 15 minutes a day, even though they didn't know how to read. And they promoted us to talk with them during lunch, during dinner, while we are on vacation or on the weekend. But our children was too shy and didn't want to speak a foreign language. We tried out different apps there. As you probably may know, whether you're a parent or an educator, there are many apps over there that allows you to read in English or have a digital library or just practice by listening. But no app out there actually gives you feedback about how you are performing when you are speaking or reading aloud. And that's the point where we come in with ReadM. We try to give a really good and immersive experience while any English learner, let it be a kid or an adult, is speaking. And through that, we give a very high and how do you say that? A very high and
We're giving a high end and high
Uh,
degree of confidence.
Correct. And with that, some analytics. And yeah, we can go to the next slide. Yeah, so
There we go.
yeah. So actually, what ReadM is actually solving, there are three main reasons. One of them is what I mentioned before, confidence. We want to increase the confidence when reading out loud or speaking out loud. And there's a real issue when someone learning a new language, they try to speak. Sometimes it sounds funny, sometimes it doesn't sound like it's supposed to be. And we need that feedback, and we need that confidence that we said it right. We said it as it is supposed to be, so other people can understand us. So the one problem that we are trying to solve is increasing the confidence when we are reading aloud.
And as a teacher, I have to, as a teacher, having had like Orange children and hundreds of children, you find that even when children are in what we call in our pedagogy as the silent period, if they don't have confidence, it will take longer for them to come out of that silent period. And even if they do have a little bit of confidence, if they feel that they're going to be made fun of, they will retreat. So they'll answer the question, but you won't be able to get any more out of them. And they'll be reluctant to engage and make friends. So the confidence is needed to make friends, and the confidence is also needed academically. And that was one of the important parts that Oren was very, very methodical about in terms of ReadM.
Correct. And one more thing to add about confidence is, as I mentioned, there are many apps out there that let you listen to a story or listen to a nice animation, but it really doesn't increase the confidence. I mean, it's nice, you have fun, you see all those characters popping and jumping around, but you don't get that experience where you speak out loud, where you actually feel that you're doing something. You're having fun, but you're not practicing, you're not building your confidence. And aside from that, we're going to go to the second problem that we're trying to solve. I mentioned that the school teachers and ESL teachers reminded us that my kids need to read for 15 to 20 minutes a day. And we also were required to sign on a little paper that we know as parents, we know that they read. Now, having English for me as a second language, I was not educated enough, to check that little note and say, okay, my kids were really into it. They read it perfectly. They understood every word. They didn't make any mistakes at all. I could say they made mistakes, but again, with my English level, I could not point out the different and the various fluency notes that a teacher should have, and take a kid in a certain learning path that would increase their fluency. And so we're trying to solve the issue of letting a teacher monitor readers' fluency by giving them some reports, real life reports about mistakes and about success that readers had or have at the current moment. Again, we're giving live feedback. It's as if you're a teacher and you're looking at the dashboard, which you will see eventually in a few minutes from now. And as a kid read in his home or her home, you would see the actual results popping into the report as you look at the dashboard. So,
and I also want to say what Warren is saying, and thank you for all of that, is that there's a difference between fluency and reading quickly. So fluency means that you have the cadence of the language, the rhythm of the language. So if I were to learn to speak one of your languages, it wouldn't just be saying the words and speaking quickly. It's, do I have the rhythm of your language? So I want to point out that monitoring fluency, it's not speed reading. It's not how fast are they going, and it's not a competition to see which student reads it the quickest. It's, are they reading it correctly, and are they reading it with the flow that they are, it's understandable, and it's understandable in English. So that's what the difference is between fluency and reading it quickly. There used to be a commercial where the disclaimer was read in the quickest speed, like fast forward, like super fast, just for getting the disclaimer out to the public. But you really didn't understand what they were saying. That's the difference between fluency. So to monitor fluency is important as you're learning a language, and it's important for the teacher, for the parents, and also it becomes important for the student, because many times they think as they're learning a language, faster is better. And I know that I speak fast. And when I teach students, I say, I speak fast as a native speaker. If I'm speaking too fast, tell me to slow down, because my fluency is ingrained in me already, but I also have to know that you can understand what I'm saying. So this second problem that we're addressing of fluency is very important in language development and goes towards confidence.
Yeah, and I have to say, Dr. Hope, that we were also required in some of the classes to actually record our kids and send that to the teacher. And back then we were thinking, wow, the teacher has to listen to about 20 or 30 kids and then take out of that what they're supposed to do and give to each and every one feedback. I mean, that's a huge amount of work to do. And that's a huge problem. And we actually solved that. And we'll say that. And before we say that, let's move to the third and last, I promise, that's the last one that we're trying to solve. And that's money. Money is definitely an issue, and what actually the ingredient in educational technology. And we said there are many apps out there, many games that are trying to get both parents and educators and schools to reach out to their pockets and just convince them, look, our app is so fun. Your kids will love it. Look, we have kids that are actually using those apps. Look at our videos. But then again, those costs usually are high. Usually they're paid either by schools or parents. And we're not seeing the real benefits, not until a few months later. We see that most of these apps are just games. I mean, they're having fun. They fill out some time, and maybe the kids learn a little bit out of that. But as we speak about ReadM, at this point, ReadM is a no-cost solution, and we offer it as a free service to anyone who wants to have, again, an immersive and nice experience in building out that confidence for learning how to read English and having fun at the same time.
And as a teacher, yeah. I want to say that the data that you'll be able to see later really is helpful in terms of building a teacher's confidence to have parent-teacher conferences, because those of you in the audience who are parents may think, oh, like we do this all the time as teachers. We're really, confident about it, respectful, and we get trained in having a parent-teacher conference. That's not necessarily so. I can tell you I get nervous when I meet with parents because I want to make sure that the information is understandable and well received and helpful. So ReadM does have a portal, or part of its portal, and you will be able to see that in a few minutes. And the other nice thing about it, as Oren said, is that there's an economic gap that goes with the literacy gap, and ReadM is part of addressing and closing that gap instead of making that gap larger. Are we ready to give them a go, Oren?
Let's go.
All right.
All right.
Oren will
So
explain
yeah,
how these screens about the experience, and this is where he is the tech master. Go for it.
yes. So thank you. So as I mentioned before, I'm a front-end engineer and a tech lead. I build web apps for a living, and this was no exception. I put my love and my skills into that, and while listening to Hope's um, much wisdom, I would say, and experience in
Thank
how
you.
to make it much better. So what we've seen here is our two screenshots, and you'll be able to experiment with that soon enough. On the left side, we'll see the homepage for each and every new student that is signing up. And you'll be able to see that there's some coins, there's a reading speed that we are monitoring, and that is being calculated automatically. There's the notion in ReadM, the notion is having a library of books, which means either a teacher assign some books to their students, or a student can pick up any book according to levels. At this point, we have levels 1 to 3, and 1 goes into the first grades and so on. And as a user that is reading out loud, the point is to read out loud the sentences that you see on the right. In that example, we are in the cotton candy book, and we're in the first page, and you see that on the third paragraph, there's a small coin, and the words are highlighted with an underline, which means you have to read it out loud. And as you read, we recognize what you read and we match it with the text. And once you got a paragraph or a sentence or a word in that blue box correctly, you receive a coin. You're immediately a superstar. So the point is to earn as much as coins as possible. And only by doing that, this is the simplest that it gets for a student, for a simple user. Only by doing that, we're able behind the scenes to calculate the fluency and to eventually aggregate a report of how well you're doing and where are the strong points and where are the weak points that a student needs to be led and progress. Aside from that, everybody, I guess, always ask me, okay, what do we do with the coins? How, it's money, what do we do with it? So we have the notion of avatars, we have the notion of widgets, and you can buy and play around with that. And aside from that, eventually, one of the points in ReadM is getting a diploma once you complete a book. Yes, and that's that thing over there. And yeah, let's move to the second slide. Hope. But yeah, I mentioned before, by that we're teaching a little bit about how to save money and a little bit about economic for children. But again, it's not real money; it's just ReadCoin, as we like to call it. And we buy avatars. We can change the colors. We buy widgets, and so on. I think it's
So it lets the
time.
students have a little bit of choice about what their learning experience will look like. The fact that they can change a color, pick an avatar. So it's some personalization, customization, makes it feel like this is my board, this is my dashboard, this is my comfort zone for reading. So that's also part of building their affect and saying, I want to be here, and also building confidence. And in a few minutes, we'll build your confidence as a reader because you will get to take the experience.
Yes, I think it's time for that experience. Enough talking, and let's get to work. Hope, before we jump into the app, on the first slide, on the second slide, we have some recommendation. At this point, I want to mention to the audience that ReadM's experience is best when using Chrome browser. We know that you can use Edge browser as well, but the best experience would be in Google's Chrome browser. It doesn't matter, any platform would do. You would let it be Macintosh or Windows or Linux. Aside from that, yeah, if you have a question or anything like that, you're welcome to write in the YouTube's chat or in the Zoom's chat. We're here to help you and sort it out. Or if you have a suggestion or an idea, we're open to hear that. And
I will skip to the screen where now Oren will coach you through how to actually you'll go to ReadM, you'll go to the app, and you will get to explore and make believe that you are a student. And remember, when you're reading it out loud, wherever you are, have yourself muted. Otherwise, we'll each hear everybody else read out loud, which can be fun, but could also be a little bit overwhelming. So go for it, Oren, and we can make sure that everybody can actually stay in the Zoom. Please don't leave the Zoom, but open another window for trying out ReadM.
Yes, so as we speak over here, I'll share the link in the Zoom and in YouTube chat as well. You can join in simply by using one of your social logins, Google, Facebook, Twitter, or you can sign in with your own email. It's your choice. It's fine. We don't share your data with anyone. So that's another disclaimer. I'll share a link.
I'm going to get out of this screen share so that people can pay attention to the link and what you're doing right now.
No, that's fine. The slide is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can start and join in. I'll share a link for each and everyone to join a group in which after you'll experiment with ReadM as a student, we'll let you experiment with ReadM as a teacher.
And so, even if you are truly in your life a teacher, for this part of the experience right now, join as a student. So when you're going to the ReadM, when you're going to the app, join as a student. And Oren is we'll put the links right into the Zoom chat for you so that you have our class link and you'll join a class and you'll have your peers who are here to be classmates with you.
Yeah, so remember again to mute yourself. We also mute ours. And yeah, let the 5 minutes begin.
Do they need the class link? I don't have the class link in my Zoom chat yet.
I'll share it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we really want to encourage you to take a few minutes now to go in and join our class and have a good time and make believe you're a student for a few minutes. Okay, so Oren, can you unmute, because not everybody has a device where they're able to pretend to be a student. Can you unmute and show us what you were doing with the screen and let us hear and experience have the student experience?
Sure. So let me take off the headphones. Yeah, so hopefully everyone can hear me. Hope.
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, great. All right, so as mentioned before, this is the homepage for a student. You'll see that I've been reading for quite some time now. These are the coins that I already earned, my reading speed. And I'm going to try and read a book for now. So this is a book that I already started reading. So if I'm not sure how to read a sentence, I could click on that play button.
Birds have great eyes.
Or I can just hover one of the words.
Have.
And have the recording of each word play out loud. Eventually, when I read, birds have great eyes.
You're on the right track now.
So this is the experience that a user will get when they are reading out loud. As parents, and we're going to see that later also for teachers, we are able to see the actual report and to see where we are falling behind. But before that, we're going to see the customization side of ReadM, because children really love it as much as we've had with our kids and friends and family. We're able to switch the colors for the overall theme. And as well, if we have that many coins, we're able to switch our avatar and what we call a doodle that would float around like that. So that's the one of the fun parts in ReadM. Now, again, as a parent, I am able to get a report for any progress that my kid had up until now. And the report actually shows the scoring, how many successes I had up until now, or how many missed attempts I've had. And if I go into a specific report, I can see that this book was up until now was read perfectly, so there are no missed words. But I can actually see the entire attempts that are already transcribed with the actual recording, so we don't have to go and listen to each and every one. I mentioned before that we know teachers asked us to send recordings. We do that here automatically. And I mentioned that we were required to read out loud or read for at least 15 to 20 minutes. That's a lot. We actually calculate the actual reading aloud experience and summing up those attempts into actual timing. So eventually we'll have a very precise amount of time recorded for each and every attempt, for each and every user.
The other thing that is also nice in building confidence is that the student can try it again and again. So, when I say student, as a teacher, they're students. To you, they're your children. So the child can try it again, and it's not punitive. It's all about try it again. So if they do it the first time, you saw the coins, the celebration. And if they don't do it the first time, that's okay. They get to try it again. They can re-record themselves, reread the passage. And the other subtle thing, as Oren was reading, is when he read it correctly, the image on the left-hand side goes from black and white to color. So there are, depending on your learning style, there are various things that are built into the app that child, the parent, can realize, wow, my child's being successful. They're feeling good about it. And then they'll be more confident and want to read. Because ultimately our goal is that kids and adults want to read and enjoy reading, and don't just do it because it's an assignment.
Yes, and you're absolutely right. And we've had some user testing on our kids' friends without letting them know that we were the one that actually created this app. And we were watching very closely to see their reaction and to learn from their reaction and see what works for them and what's not. And by that, we tweaked a few things over here and fine-tuned the overall experience to one that would be a delight for every kid. Anything else, Hope, that we want to explore in the student side?
So I think on the student side, they also get to see what they've started but haven't finished, so that they always have a book to read. So that if they finished one level of the library, they can continue on to the next, and they're able to reread a book. So part of the joy of being a reader is if you have a story that you really connect with, you can borrow it again from the library and say, you know, this is what I feel like today. This is my mood today. And as a teacher, I love when kids want to reread stories because it helps their fluency. And to me, it means that they're connecting with the author or the characters. As an adult, we tend to have our feel-good books. And, you know, like I know my daughter reads a Nicholas Sparks book at least once a year. She'll reread The Notebook. She'll reread a story. And we want children who are developing their confidence and their skills as readers to feel like it's accessible. It's there when they want it. So that's the other thing about the app, is the students can use it in school, at home, at grandma, grandpa's house. If you're on a vacation, a long car ride, as long as you can get access to the app, they have the stories available to them.
That's great. And yeah, you reminded me to stress out that ReadM is not here to replace teachers' work. And we have a question over here by Elizabeth Rosenbaum. I hope I pronounced that right. She's asking, can teachers use this in their class? So Elizabeth, yes, teachers can use the app in their class. You do need to register with a user if you have a Google or LinkedIn, sorry, a Google or Twitter or just an email, so you can register. As far as it goes for schools, we have a special program where we can create automatically users for all children within your class, so they can access easily while they're in their class or at their homes.
And the thing about that for everybody who's here is when the teacher registers, the teacher can see who's in the class, but a parent of the child in Elizabeth's class, for example, only sees their child. So the teacher can see everybody. The teacher also will get to sort groups and make either groups of students reading in the same level, mix up the students. It can be very personalized. And the parents and the child only see themselves. So go for it, Oren.
Yes, so we have a question for Pankaj Mehurota. Again, I hope I pronounced that right. The question is, can students use them on laptop and phone both? So ReadM is primarily best used when on a laptop or desktop. We have partial support for Android phones. It works well, but the intention is to work on either a laptop or at least a 10-inch tablet, an Android tablet. We do have also experimental support for iPads. Yeah, so we do recommend laptop or desktop for the best full experience.
I guess this one is going to be very similar. I teach a lot of ESL students, but I teach science. But this seems to a very good tool to use like clickers in classrooms. So clickers are the tools where you challenge students with multiple choice questions and sometimes word-based questions, and the students can download them on their phone or they can use a laptop, and then they can give you a very good understanding of the student learning in classroom with the formative assessment we conduct. And this seems to be a similar tool wherein if you are teaching, for example, if you teach students a specific vocabulary in English, or you teach them a sentence, and then you give them a question which is there in the application, and the student can respond back in the classroom, and the instructor can see that in the lecture room, even in their teacher in the classroom. And that would certainly help in assessing student learning, that do you need to revisit a concept or need to teach the same content again. And same will go with students in a classroom which has ESL and non-ESL students. If I get to teach science to diverse learners, and there might be possibility to use it in a group as well. Maybe students don't know certain vocabulary, or they are reluctant to talk about it. They can record it, and that could become an assignment, and that could be played by the instructor in the classroom as well. And that would slowly develop fluency of the students to speak in English, and that to science as well.
And the beautiful thing about what you're saying, and thank you so much for sharing that with us, is as the teacher, you have the ability, you can create a book, and you can take the words and you can make each page a different word. You could make each page have a picture, so that you can teach them the vocabulary by creating the book is in essence maybe the flashcards, but instead of looking card by card, it has more of a book feel. And then as the students progress, you can you might want to explain something to them about a certain concept that you're doing in science, and you can have a class book and share it out for your ELL students, for your gifted students, for the range. So it really does, as a teacher, give you the ability to differentiate. So you would be able to have a book, create the book. You would be able to listen to how the students are pronouncing those words and see if they understand. You could ask a question in the book and use, if you teach your students via Zoom, as sometimes I know we are still doing, you'd be able to have a book, share it in a breakout room, let them have a conversation about it. So the books can be shared among the students as well. So what you're saying is very valuable.
Yeah, I think what comes to my mind is, if you're teaching them a process of photosynthesis, which they see in real life, and it has several biotic and abiotic factors in them. And if you use your application, and the student can record the function of each and every component, they record it whatever pace of English they have. At least at that level they will be able to learn the vocabulary of English, and as well as the vocabulary of science. And then they all together, they can then talk about the complete process of photosynthesis. So this would be really helpful. What comes to my mind is, do you have the ability to for example, if you have students from certain countries like Russia, the application allows them to also read in their native tongue and then make a translation in English?
So currently we are focusing on English only. We don't do translations because our secret sauce is focusing on English and practicing as much as possible. So it is a tool to promote you to read more and to experience more of the English, but not necessarily going the reading comprehension part. So we're trying to focus on that part where we're building the confidence in English, primarily in English. But we are looking into some ways where we can eventually integrate translation into several languages. And yeah, that can be, I guess that can be done, but we want to first discuss and see how well that fits into our curriculum in the app.
Makes sense. Initially, you want to begin testing how well that fits with different ESL levels learners, and then most probably work on creating a translation. Because I teach many ESL students, and what I see is if they have something like this available, their ability, to talk in groups, generally, ESL students tend to not talk in groups because they have a very different fluency in English. And if you have this application, they can record and the teacher can assess and then maybe go to them one-to-one in the classroom or maybe in groups. And I think this will be a very useful tool for as a learning activity, and apart from that, as an assessment for learning.
Yes, and
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much for mentioning that. And actually, if we're going to dive a little more into assessing students, we want to make the teachers' work easier. So we're trying to get as much as insights as possible for the teacher and for the parent in automatically or actually programmatically assess the actual recording and the fluency according to the actual recording. And instead of having the teacher listening, trying to come up with as much as insightful conclusions from that recording and lay out as a report where they can eventually lay out the foundation for the next journey in reading. So for example, I wanted to show my family class. It's actually my family. There are 5 students over here. Some of them are my kids, some of them are my nephew. And this is what the teacher eventually would see. They would have a class where all the students were registered or joined. And we're able to see from a bird's eye view what is the overall score, the average, and the time spent in actual reading. And we can dive specifically into each and every student's progress report, as I've shown before in the parent's view. And what we can see here is the actual missed words report. So for that book, I'm able to see that some words were read with mistakes. They were missed. The words that have those green check marks, for example, were eventually read successfully. And we can dive into those words and sentences later. But we also can see some reports about the phonics. Dr. Hope, could you give your
Yes.
awesome wisdom on these phonics?
That's fine. That's fine. And so the development of the book, some of the books come from Storyweaver. Some are developed specifically for ReadM. And one of the things that we did was include the high frequency words and the Dolch sight words. So in the United States, those are big indicators that are used by teachers in assessing students' literacy and seeing how they are developing their vocabulary, their sight word vocabulary. So you'll see that many of the words that we look upon are the sight words and what we call the high frequency words, the words most oftenly used in what children are reading. So in what Oren just showed you, for example, the number of, that number is how many times the word was missed. So if it was only missed once, that means then the second time they got it. And then the green check means they eventually did it. And then you'll see where in the phonics, they have it divided by the diphthongs, initial consonant digraphs. So a teacher, the classroom teacher, can then look at this and say, wow, this child is doing great and increasing levels of difficulty. Maybe perhaps the teacher may have a concern and say, the child has been here for, a certain amount of time, months or years. Perhaps it's time to refer that child to the speech language therapist. So as an ESL teacher, I have had classroom teachers say, I'm referring that child to speech. What do you think? Like, Dr. Blecker, will you sign the form? And I'll say, no, they're still in their English language learner stage. They don't have a speech problem. They're developing the ability to hear English sounds and have their mouth and their tongue move in that way. It's not a issue that they have to get speech language therapy for yet. So we have to also, as teachers, one of my roles as the ESL teacher is really to say to the classroom teacher, give them the gift of time. They need the time to learn. They didn't just come and wake up one day and say, great, now I'm an English speaker just like you are. So that's the other thing that this app does, is there's no timer that you see, and I've seen it on other apps, that clicks, 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 clicks as the child is reading, and then therefore makes the child or the adult more nervous. So here's an example of a story, and go ahead, Oren, talk to them about the progress report.
Yeah, so I think you actually said it all. We have everything in the progress report. Let it be the academic approach of the phonics side, and which missed words were there during the reading attempts. And aside from that, we get to see each and every recording, each and every attempt, and what the attempt was like, and how much time it took. But aside from that, Dr. Hope, you mentioned that we're able to create books. So in that case, it was one of my kids that actually wrote this book. So we mentioned before that ReadM is also a platform for creation. And some of the books that you would see in the app are actually books that were made by my kids and some of their friends, or some others that we might not know. But we do have moderation for that. So if a kid is creating a book as part of an assignment or practice at home or at school, this book would not be published, but rather a teacher or a moderator would have to check the book and see if that fits to be published eventually to the public library or the school's library, if there's any need to constrain books into a specific domain. And while we're speaking about creating books, we do have the ability of letting the child draw a book as part of the practice and the actual activity where writing a book is taking place, and upload that to ReadM and to be part of an actual book that is out there that will maybe read by many others. So
and the beauty of that as a teacher, if Oren, if you can go back and show that little butterfly, is I have had students where they're not ready to speak yet, either for confidence or they don't have the word retrieval. They're not at that stage yet, but they can draw you a picture. And as the teacher, you can look at that picture and know that they understand what you're teaching. So to go back to the science, they may not have that science vocabulary, but if you ask them to draw a picture of a water cycle, picture of photosynthesis, they can illustrate it, and you as the educator they know what I'm talking about. They know what I've taught. They know what the lab was. They know what the lesson was. So the fact that this is part of ReadM and that the students can incorporate their own illustrations is great for their self-confidence and great for the adult to see, are they understanding a story? And do they even understand the concept of a story? That the picture goes with the words and the words convey the meaning.
Yeah, the
So
the
big
teaching by
lift that happens.
the teaching by visualization is quite important, and then we have the drawing pedagogy coming up, like you talked about. And if you draw something which was just taught to the ESL student, it works out perfectly well.
Yes, yes, and yeah, we have many things over here on our book creator. We also have, if anyone has read or heard about AI, we have AI, artificial intelligence, incorporated into ReadM's book creator, where the actual author can ask the AI to generate a graphic according to the story that they just wrote. So this is another cool thing that we have over here. Hope, I think it's time for our attendees to promote them into being teachers, right?
Yes, we have a few
Yeah.
minutes left, so we will have you go in and you can see what some of the reports look like. We'll give you a minute and then we'll do our Q&A and let you know how to keep in touch with us. So go for it.
Yeah, you can sign out from your account now and sign in.
Not the Zoom. He means don't
Not
be a
Zoom.
student anymore.
Yeah. Is open readm.app. Use the login with email, and you can just write out teacher 2023. You don't need any email over there, and the password is the same. And this account is going to be active for the next 24 hours. And yeah, feel free to play around with this account as a teacher. Just notice that we have few attendees over here. If you make any change in that account, everybody else will see it. I mean, everybody else will use that same account. So just be mindful about that. And yeah, have a few minutes to play around with it, and we'll see you in a few minutes.
All righty. I know we are getting to like a minute or two left. So Oren is showing us his screen, and as you can see right there, you have your classes where you can create and edit books in all different settings. And Pooja, do you want to take it away from me, and you and Oren can wrap us up?
Yes, I think Elizabeth and Pankaj, they have shared their views and questions. Addy, do you have anything to add or share? I just wanted to ask here, I was trying to sign in as a teacher, but there is no direct option that I'm getting. It asked me to sign in through Gmail or Facebook. So is there any separate link?
Yes. So as of now, when you register to ReadM, you register as a student,
I signed off, I logged out, and I was trying to sign in again. But I was not able to find direct sign in option. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
what I
so
got.
yeah, so a student and a teacher would use the same account to actually log in. But if, for example, I don't have it right here, if you're going to if you are signed in as a student, you will eventually have on your menu over here the option to upgrade to become a teacher. And
Okay.
that requires a code, which eventually will provide as needed. Yeah, so to approach us, you can either click the feedback link or just contact us through the contact link. We want to learn from you and why you want to be, you want to get a teacher account. Nothing formal, just our curiosity. And yeah, I hope that helps.
Okay.
And it's a free app. We want to encourage you to use it also.
Yes, I was about to ask the same question if it is a free app. Okay. Thanks a lot. I think that was interesting. I definitely gonna share with my students and children I know. I think for teachers also, as I think most of the advantages you have explained and Mr. Pankaj have also added. Definitely this will be a great help for teachers and children. Probably after people watching on YouTube and probably after we taking them through the app on LinkedIn, many more might start using it. And definitely, I think I have seen many different apps, and most of the apps, only basic version is free, and eventually they ask you to pay and upgrade yourself for the better options. And I think here you don't have any such restriction on using. So that is one great thing. It's economic and easy to use app. Thank you so much for joining and sharing this important app and information with us. Thank you, everyone. Elizabeth is saying that she'll be using it in her class. And Elizabeth, please share with other teachers and others as well. Mr. Pankaj, Adi, Elizabeth, and everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We'll see you again next Sunday. If you guys want to reach out to Hope and Mr. Oren, you have Dr. Hope's account and Mr. Oren's account, LinkedIn account links are shared in chat box. You can directly get in touch with them, website links. Thanks a lot. Have a great Sunday, great weekend. See you all.
And enjoy your festival. And thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.